Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome aboard another Sofa Safari. As you know, my name's Brad. I'm going to be behind the wheel today. Trevor in the tracker seat.
Afternoon, everybody.
Stu behind the camera. And Janine on comms at the back there, looking fabulous. So yeah, today we're going to, before we head out, oh, by the way, happy Father's Day for yesterday. And hope you all had a great Father's Day and all safe and well. Before we head out, we're just going to, basically see what's happening in front here. There's an animal that's been eluding us.
It has.
For the past couple of episodes. So we're quite excited that we may have something to show you here. May, being the key point there. Yeah, so before we begin, just remember also to tune into the other vehicle. We do have Brandon, Ryan and Tom on the other vehicle busy doing some other things too. So we will switch across to them at some point. So yeah, just remember to change over when we do, and please, of course, feel free to ask any questions as we're going along. Alrighty, let's do this.
Right. You may have heard while Brad was chatting there a little bit, there's almost a snorting sound as we approach up ahead here. Some wildebeest making some noise up ahead there, and that's not the elusive animal. Yeah, that's perfect.
Brilliant.
Try and get a little bit closer.
You've got the wildebeest there on the right. And then another animal that's occasionally associated is in front, which is the one that's been eluding us. The old zebra. Now we're actually quite excited to find them. We haven't been seeing them very often. It seems every Monday at around afternoon time they all disappear. But yeah, they've been grazing around this clearings here, and occasionally they'll dip into a thicket, but generally being in the open clearings, so you'd think it would be a bit easier to see them. But yeah, wherever the grass is the best.
Often you'll see, as you may see, the wildebeest are following the zebra. They actually have a grazing relationship where the zebra prepare the grass for the wildebeest. The zebra will feed slightly higher grass, the wildebeest slightly lower. And there's a few positives for that, in that one, there's numerous eyes and ears to look out for danger. But let's go a little bit closer and we'll try to get a better view of the zebras for you. Nice sight of that. You can see there how these zebra, now what we're talking about, feeding on a slightly higher grass. But these are your birchals or plain zebra. Found more in the southern African parts, and you get the Cape Mountain zebra and the greavy zebra that's found further the north. There are distinct stripe patterns on them.
Seem to see any small ones.
See if it's,
Looks like a breeding group.
it does say, but no foals at the moment.
No. See the stallion on the right of the road, yeah? We've got to catch up. Often you'll find the stallion at the rear of the group. He's very much a protector of the herd as well, or of the dazzle, if you want to be a bit more fancy with your terminology. The collective noun for zebra is a dazzle. He's got very well developed canines actually, 2 pairs, so he can give a very nasty bite if he wanted to. Kicking, quite a powerful animal. Hyenas, cheetahs, leopards will sometimes hesitate with zebra, of course, because they can fight back, but lions, they must run.
Brad mentioned the term dazzle, and it's very true, and actually part of it is having a dazzling effect on predators, their main predator being a lion. When they group together and they run, the black and white stripe causes a dazzle effect. Our predators predominantly see in black and white. See when he crosses the road there, they predominantly see black and white, and when you have a group of zebra running together, the stripes have this dazzling effect too, and it makes it a little bit more difficult for a predator to isolate one of them, and that's where that effect comes in quite importantly for the zebra. And those fighting teeth, when 2 stallions do fight and bite each other, it's a pretty ferocious fight, and he'll control and keep his harem in these areas. Yeah, they're very horse-like sound. They're in the same family as horses, called the equus family, and you may have heard the stallion make that typical equus or horse-like sound.
Position slightly.
We'll try to go a little bit more forward. Some sun is coming through there. It's really nice.
See, the autumn colours are really nice and set in now. Winter just creeping in now.
There we go.
Beautiful time of the year. Very prominent black and white markings. You know, most animals with black and white markings could suggest thermoregulation. And recently, in the past, they actually had a suspect that zebra might be thermoregulating with those stripes, but now it's been confirmed. That's exactly what the stripe is for, regulating their body temperatures. It's a combination between piloerection, which is the hair standing up, a very frothy sweat that they give off, and the black stripes having more capillaries than under the white stripes. So the blood in the area of the black gets heated up, the area in the white gets reflected, and you get that temperature difference, creating miniature low pressure, high pressure cells over each stripe, which creates a microcurrent over the zebra. And with the frothy sweat and the piloerection, that helps dissipate the heat off their bodies. Essentially built-in air conditioning. Only works when they're standing in the sun. Seems to be sneaking off into the bush, huh? I think we're going to turn around and carry on to see what you can find.
Yeah. Always such a nice way to start an afternoon with some lovely general game around. Brad, I think let's turn around. I can hear some branches cracking there. Perhaps there's some ellies around.
Maybe some ellies.
Turn around over here.
Let's speed there. Gonna take me 4x4ing it.
Okay, keep going back. There we go.
You can almost see some stripes on the zebra too, and on the wildebeest too. to be called a brindle gnu.
Lovely colours on the rounded teaks.
We've been having these bulls in the area the past couple of days now, doing some landscaping, picking up a few pipes here and there. Those round leaf teaks that Trev mentioned now, they're actually one of their favorites coming towards the winter time. They tend to favor the roots particularly, so as a result you don't see many of them getting very big. They should be fairly staunch trees. Not much of them get a chance to get that big here. The elephants putting a lot of pressure on them.
You can see there how the big bull at the back, he's taking a branch and just rolling it in his molars. The idea of that is just to get to the protein content, which helps maintain their mass. As Brad was saying, this time of year it's very dry, so not a lot of lush vegetation around, so they start to focus on roots and bark, and it's a common thing done with bulls. Brad, come up here.
How's that?
Lovely big bull. You can see there how he wraps his trunk around the teak and pulls it up. Let's see now, as he puts it in his mouth, watch it, will come out this side like it's shredded. Let's see. He's scratching his ear with rock lodge in the background.
Yeah. There's the one side coming out clean, eh?
Yes.
wood chipper.
Yeah, you see closely there how it's been shredded. So it's just the protein in that underlying cambium layer. Hopefully they'll come feed on these.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. And again, you may see the flapping of the ears, and again, it's got nothing to do with his mood. It's basically a radiating system with blood flowing into his ears, flapping the ears, cools it down, and then circulates through the body. So you can see by his body language, he's very relaxed, and it's just such a privilege in an area like this that these guys are that relaxed and you can view them from this close. Always something very special to share with folks from all over the world.
See how dirty his tusk looks from all the trees he's been debarking and uprooting rather. Sometimes you'll see a little notch getting worn into the tusk. I actually have a favoured tusk that they'll usually use, like humans have a favoured hand. Very similar with elephants with the tusk, although sometimes you'll see they can also use both tusks. For the most part, there's usually one tusk that's got a big notch, and as they age, continuously adding to that notch and becomes quite a valuable tool. I think this guy's snapped his one tip off, huh?
Yeah, it looks like on his left-hand side there's a little notch that's missing.
Yeah.
Possibly often debarking or digging up a root perhaps. So relaxed.
Yeah.
It's always something about elephants when you sit around them, they give off such a calmness about them, and if you look at their eyes, that lovely orange glow in their eyes, you can see they're just big, calm animals that so relaxed.
Sometimes I get the impression they like watching us just as much as we like watching them.
Yeah, I agree, Brad. I think definitely, and they give off this aura of that, you know, the conversation that's going on here between these bulls, him being the oldest, so possibly teaching these youngsters as that Ascari's method.
Yeah.
I mean, you would just love to know the conversation. That's what fascinates me. You can see there again, he's pulled a nice big chunk of round leaf teak out.
Folks, we've just got some word from that other group. They've been working hard on something, a little surprise for you, so we're going to switch over to them. I'm going to show you what they've been tracking from this morning.
afternoon, guys. Welcome to another episode of Sofa Safari. Myself, Brandon. Got Ryan in the tracker seat and then Tom behind the camera. And as you can see, we're sitting with something incredibly cool. We've got a female leopard, Basile, all right. We've got two hyenas at the base of the tree. And then we've also got Basile's cub, which is sitting just behind us here on this termite mound, waiting for an opportunity to come and join his mom up the tree with a kill that they have here. Unfortunately, a little bit dangerous at the moment, and he's hoping that they are going to move out the way for him, these hyenas, so that he can dart up the tree.
You can see Mom not happy with the hyenas. Bit of a growl there as well. Don't think this hyena's actually seen the cub. Just walking in the general direction. The cubs ran away behind the vehicle now. It's coming around from my side. Oh, it's going north. He's gone west. It's coming around though. Just avoiding the hyena.
She's watching carefully, making sure that hyena's not trying his luck with her cub. Low growl.
Well, it's obviously very dangerous for the cub. When the hyenas are around, he's actually gone up another tree in the distance there. But also good for learning. This is when he's going to learn about hyenas and things like that, learn how to avoid them, learn to place the kills up in the trees, stash them nicely so they don't fall down and the hyenas get them as well. But good to avoid them. And like we say, he's gone up a tree in the distance there, but he's safe. So it's okay. You can see Mom's relaxed as well a little bit. He's laid down. You can see him. A little bit happier now.
Yeah, he's toned down a notch. So as we were saying, guys, we're very lucky to have Basile. We've managed to find her. Unfortunately, Basile, she started 6 months ago with 2 cubs, and then about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, unfortunately, we got the news that the second cub had been taken by another leopard, which is not an uncommon occurrence. It actually, unfortunately, happens quite often, especially because, well, number one, the concern for mother leopards are actually the males of their species. And unfortunately, cannibalism is practiced a lot, and it was a young male leopard that took the cub and unfortunately proceeded to feed on it. But she does still have this one. Both were male. This one, like I said, about 6 months, and it's quite incredible to see the developments already. This is already, he's only 6 months old, but he's already a massive little cub with huge paws, which indicate that he's just going to grow even bigger. As long as Mom keeps on feeding him.
Yeah, he's taking after his dad. For anybody that knows Ravenscourt, that is the father of the cub. He's a large chap. So yeah, this little boy's got some good genes in him.
Just gonna pan over here and see if we can show this little cub to you guys. It's obviously looking directly into the sun, but he's gone up this tree here. Again, yeah, not really gonna see him, but just to give you an idea, he's moved a little way off, and as Ryan mentioned, he's now nice and safe up in that tree.
Yeah, in this circumstance, I prefer not to move around, really because of what's happening here, the dynamics of what we've got. We've got a couple of hyenas in the area. We can see 2, but earlier on we had about 4, maybe even a 5th one, I think, that was wandering around. So just purely because of that, we'd rather just sit and watch, all right, and let things happen around us rather than trying to push into one area and push into another area. We just sit and wait patiently and see what happens, all right? If we go pushing after a little leopard cub, we might push him into a position which is actually quite dangerous, and especially with the noise of the vehicle, he wouldn't be able to hear hyenas approaching. So for that reason, we just sit here. At some stage, he's probably going to try and make his way here across to her, to get up to, I don't know if you've managed to point up at the top of the tree there, where the kill is. That's a female impala, and she brought him to this female impala this morning. He definitely had one feed today, but for the duration of the day, he's actually been off the kill. So maybe his tummy's grumbling a little bit, being a growing cub. He's probably now feeling the need to come and feed and join mom and get a bite of impala before sundown. Set up comfortably there. Doesn't look like he's going to be coming down anytime soon.
Now you can hear Brandon said that this female went and fetched the cub, which often surprises people because people tend to believe that once a female leopard has cubs, the cubs stay with her all of the time, which is not the case. Cubs actually spend very little time with their mothers once they probably reach about 3 or 4 months. Yes, there's a little bit of social time. But more often than not, she hides the little ones. She'll have places in her territory that she knows are safe. She'll stash the little ones there, be it a couple of days sometimes, and she'll go off and she'll continue with her female adult activities, things like scent marking, patrolling her territory, making sure none of these young males are around, hopefully, and then hunting. And if she kills something, she will go back, whether it be a couple of kilometers, a couple of miles, fetch the youngster and bring them to the carcass. Now they're also very different to lions when it comes to feeding. We've seen lions feeding, and when lions kill something, everybody rushes in and tries to eat as much as they can, as fast as they can, lots of competition around the carcass. Where leopards have table manners, they take turns. Generally, mom will have the first initial feed, just in case something steals the food while she goes to fetch the cubs, so at least mom has had something to eat. But once she brings the cubs to the kill, they take turns. If there's more than one cub, one will sit and wait for the other to feed.
Oh, absolutely stunning with this afternoon light. The golden hour. Settled back again.
Yeah, I jumped to another branch. So yes, and once mom is finished with her cub, with the food, they spend half a morning together, a little bit of time, and then mom will hide the cub again. Right, so leopard cubs spend a lot of time by themselves. And that's a big difference between lion cubs and leopard cubs, is because leopard cubs spend so much time by themselves, they play. As everybody knows, when mom's away, the kids will play, and the kids play, and they stalk squirrels and birds, and progress from there, and they teach themselves how to hunt over time. That's why you'll find leopard cubs are far more independent than lion cubs. Lion cubs can be very dependent on their mothers for quite some time, where leopards from quite a young age are capable of killing their own things.
Capable, yes. But big difference what I've noticed in my time of viewing leopards is that female leopards, okay, tend to become a more solitary quite quickly on, and start competing against mother already only from about a year and 2 months, year and a half. They'll start pushing away from mother, whereas male leopard cubs like the fact that mom feeds them. All right. Failure to launch. We don't like to leave home. Okay, mom puts food regular on the table. That means I don't have to go do it myself. All right, and it's a big difference between male and female cubs.
This sounds like us.
Yeah. Mom does the washing. basking now, enjoying that last little bit of sun.
Classic African shot. A leopard sprawled on a branch of a marula tree. Beautiful.
And only a leopard can make that look. A little bit of family history for those that are interested and have been here before. Over the last couple of sofa safaris or previous sofa safaris, we've been viewing Tlangisa with her youngsters, and then unfortunately moved on to youngster. But that was Tlangisa's 6th litter. Okay, this female is the daughter of Tlangisa from her 2nd litter. Okay, so it was her first successful litter. She gave birth to 2 cubs on her 2nd litter and managed to rear both. All right, the female that we're looking at the moment is Basile, and then her sister, which is also a successful female in the area, has a territory a bit further east of us, bordering Basile, and her name is Kokovela. We've named her Kokovela, Basile and Kokovela. It's lovely to be able to have this opportunity to view leopards the way that we do, and hopefully you guys get to appreciate the way that we do, and the fact that we can watch youngsters grow up. Okay, and especially female leopards, they will move to the fringes of their mother's territory when they start becoming independent and force themselves. This is typical. They do sometimes move further afield and become more nomadic, but the typical thing is moving to the fringes of their mother's territory, trying to create their own territory. And unfortunately, as the mother gets older, she could be very dominant. She's got a huge territory sprawled out. Those young females will start eating up her territory slowly but surely, as what we've seen with Basile and Kokovela, in that big chunks of Tlangisa's territory are slowly but surely being eaten up by the these 2 females. As they get bigger and more dominant, the bigger female, moving towards the twilight of her reign, will start losing territory to her own daughters.
So a question for you guys here. If the hyenas hang around for long, will the cub eventually somehow come and join mum?
Yeah, probably. What you'll find is the hyenas will move eventually. I mean, these 2 have been sleeping at the base of the tree for most of the afternoon, and the one's wandered off. It just happened to wander off in the direction of the cub. I still don't think that hyena saw the cub. But yeah, the cub's got to be patient. Fortunately, the food's not going anywhere. So the opportunity will present itself at some stage. Earlier, before the cub arrived back, as Brandon said, there were 4 or 5 hyenas, and there was a good interaction with them where they were greeting and moving around quite a bit, and it's opportunities like that that the cub's going to have to wait for. Something like that happens and he can quickly nick in there, because as soon as he hits that tree and he's up, he's safe. Yeah.
Just before we switched over, guys, she was also on the kill. She was feeding off the kill. Bits and pieces as she's feeding dropped down, and she dropped a large portion. Well, actually not the most tasty thing for us, but the stomach, all right, came down, and there was quite a bit of interaction. Now that she's off the carcass, the hyenas have realized, they know that she's not going to be feeding for another 2 hours or so, 3 hours. So in that time, they can wander off, they can go and drink. Maybe there's another opportunity somewhere else, because it's a hang of a patient game, waiting for bits and pieces to drop out of a tree when a leopard is feeding. And if the female's not feeding, well, I can go do some other things in the meantime. All right, and for that, in that circumstance, when the hyenas start moving off and maybe going and finding a nice comfy spot somewhere else to go and sleep, that's when the cub can slip in and then go up the tree and then carry on feeding.
To be fair, the hyenas would probably prefer the cub in the tree. With his inexperience, there's a better chance of the cub potentially even dropping the kill, and then big score for the hyenas. Nothing like free food.
Great, Brad. Friday, have you guys had any luck with those with us? Copy. How long would you do for that? Fantastic. I'll give you a shout in 2 minutes. Everything's calmed down here. Everybody's gone yellow. Brilliant. Thank you. I'll give you a shout in a minute or 2. Lovely to be able to appreciate this, even though she's sleeping. It's just the most beautiful light. The last little bit of light, the golden hour, the sun is setting. That's some of the best times to take pictures. Okay, Trevor, when you guys are ready, you can take over from us, and we'll be done in 15 seconds. No problems. Right, folks, well, as you can see, everything's calmed down. So from myself, Brandon, from Ryan, and from Tom, we would like to thank you for joining us for an afternoon sofa safari. We hope you guys enjoyed. And remember, same time, same place next week.
Have a good week, everybody.
Termite mound we're going to show you here. It's something that a lot of guests are very curious about. You can just see the tip of the iceberg, really, so to speak, over here with the chimney. It's actually open at the moment, the chimney. In winter they tend to seal it. I think we're still early enough to catch them. So why don't you come up and have a look, all you creepy crawly fans. It's a fairly big mound. Here's the entrance to the chimney itself. A few other little turrets sticking out, but this is where the hole is. This is where a lot of heat is dissipated, escaping from the inner mound. Very extensive. You're talking a couple of meters in diameter, 20 meters, on average, and as low as it takes to get to the water table. So that can be quite deep in some cases, up to 60 meters. Each individual mound is separated with a scent, so they don't mingle with each other. They're all separate colonies. If you want to come have a look here close, Stu. You can see also some bird droppings here on the side. A lot of birds taking advantage of this. I don't know if you can see them all there. So I can actually see some workers. If you look on the sides here, they're busy putting some mud on now as we speak, sealing this hole even more closed. So maybe by midwinter this will be pretty shut. And the reason they do that is to basically keep that temperature at a constant, about 30 degrees, and they need 100% humidity. So with all that methane and carbon dioxide, there's a lot of greenhouse gases in there. It's warming this colony up, and they try to regulate that. In summertime you'll see them opening up these mounds a lot more, having maybe a few turrets, a few chimneys, and in winter they'll seal them shut. Goes quite deep there. I don't know if you can see right down there. I don't know if you can notice this, the bigger ones with the big mandibles, those are the soldiers, purely just defending the colony. Very, very, very dangerous, even for us. They can draw blood if they bite you. These ones are fairly small. There's one over here. They get much bigger than that. That's still quite a small one. If you disturb the nest, they call for the reinforcements, and then you can see the big boys coming up from down below. If I just dang a little piece of grass, the reaction, can you see that? Immediately biting. In fact, the soldier's head, or his mandibles rather, is so large, he can't even eat for himself. The other workers have to feed them. This is actually a worker. You can see haven't got the biggest mandibles. I was hoping one of the soldiers would have bitten it. They're not taking to it. So our different caste system, and really just the tip of the iceberg. Millions in some of these big mounds. We've got the queen, when she's fully mature, laying about 25,000 eggs a day. So quite hard to fathom the numbers. Quite an incredible species. This particular one has a relationship with fungus. They don't have the right protozoans in their stomachs to digest cellulose and that lignin they get from their wood and vegetation. So they rely on a fungus to do the job for them. So they line their shelves within the mound with their masticated food, their dung, and then they water it from the water table. And that Termite Mounds is the name of the fungus. It's only found in this mound, and that starts to grow, and then once it's established, they can now eat the cellulose. So they've completely worked out that symbiotic relationship, perfect symbiotic relationship. When they do release the reproductives, we call them flying ants or flying termites, of course they're going to go settle somewhere else, and each one of those queens will carry a spore of that fungus in their gut to continue the mound. So yeah, they also help with engineering the soils, constantly bringing back all this vegetation, fertilizing the area, and over a long period of time they're very, very good contributors to the nutrient cycle. Very, very important for the bush. All right, I think one last look, and we'll head out. Can you see the big soldiers? They're really big. Great stuff. Another little survival trick out here in the southern hemisphere. The Termite Mounds, because the sun is a slightly more northern angle, they'll mostly be facing north. They follow the sun slightly, and you can see on this mound, this chimney is positioned on the northern side, slightly angled north. Not the completely reliable way, but very, very, it's pretty reliable in most cases. All right, let's head out. Folks, so just so you know, no termites were harmed in the production of this little video. Let's carry on, eh?
Yeah, let's go see. It's a beautiful sunset. Let's go see what else we can find.
But if you were so inclined and you were hungry, they are a very, very valuable source of protein. In fact, more so than meat, more nutritious than meat in terms of protein. So,
Apparently they taste like peanut butter, so Brad's going to taste them for you now so you can see what they taste like.
Yeah, I don't know about peanut butter.
Eh?
Maybe a little bit. Not as good as peanut butter.
Brad? Yeah, take that first. Just go to the next is clearing. No, I still haven't got tracks that side yet. Got some time. Guys, what we're going to do while we've got the last little bit of light, we want you to enjoy this last bit. But what we're actually doing, we're trying to follow up on the pack of wild dogs. We've been trying quite a bit, and this time of the day they move a hell of a lot. But we want you to enjoy a little bit of a follow-up session with us. So Brad and I, we're going to check a few areas. Hopefully while you're still live with us, we can find them. But enjoy the ride, and we hear the word wild dog or the track wild dog, our adrenaline starts rising. So we're going to check these areas. We're going to have a look towards our airstrip, and we heard that they were coming west. So this last little bit of light, and while we're still live with you, let's give it a go and enjoy the ride. Let's go.
Yeah. These African wild dogs have only got two speeds, fast and stop. folks.
But that's your Impala.
Voilà.
I think there's some Impala up there. Now this time of the day, these nice open areas where Impala will be, the dogs will possibly on the move and hunting. So we're going to check all these little open areas in the direction that we were told they were coming. Airstrip being one of them.
Cocktails.
So this group of Impala here, as you can see in the open area, you can just see by their body language that they are fairly relaxed right now. You know, if they pick up danger, we will definitely see it in their body language and know that something's around.
Go down the cut line, Drew.
Yeah, let's give it a minute or two. Let's just listen a little bit. Let's see perhaps if we can hear an alarm call or if we hear anything. It will often alert us to potentially the direction they may be. Brad, let's go down the cut line. Let's give that a try.
Go.
Come up, just go.
We'll go and follow. Always listening for alarm calls, for tracks and signs. And with the dogs being so busy, they can cover distance very quickly, but this time of the day they can be very active. So, and that's the exciting thing about going on game drive. Every day is different. We went, sorry Brad, you can stop there a sec. One of those landscaping elephants I mentioned earlier.
Just doing my tracker duties, looking after the roads. Sorry, I was saying how exciting it is every time. The unknown makes it even more exciting. Even for us, every day is different. Let's hope maybe we get lucky with these dogs.
safari lodge on the right. No tracks so far, Trev.
I think let's check up towards the dam. We'll watch. We'll see what we can find there. We're down at Schwenga Dam, which a lot of you might know of. Stewie just had the camera there on our treehouse suite that overlooks the dam. We've got safari and then rock lodge. Often a beautiful time of the day to be around this dam. And we're going to sit and listen a little bit. Perhaps we hear something, or hopefully the dogs might flush something out and end up in this area. But we'll sit here for a couple more minutes while we're still live, so you can enjoy the sounds and the peace and the quiet, as well as the sunset. And let's see what happens. There's elephants over there.
Oh. Some elephants quite far up on the left of the dam. Oh, having a little wrestle.
Yeah, the clashing of the tusks.
Amazing how that sound travels. I think those African wild dogs went south, eh?
Did they?
They must have, Nothing's come east. Alright, well we tried, eh?
We did.
Oh, at least we get to enjoy a nice sunset here at the dam. Beautiful. Alright folks, I think we're gonna sign out now. Thanks for joining us once again, and hopefully we see you guys again on Monday next week, same time. Have a lovely rest of your day.
Bye everybody, hope you have a great week. Enjoy these last scenes, take them in. We will all see you soon. All the best.